So I came to Greensboro in 2000, and I came here as a result of being incarcerated. I was incarcerated in Lexington, North Carolina, and I knew when I was incarcerated, I did not want to go back to do what I was doing. I knew that in order to change, I had to do something different. Um, I was struggling with addiction when I went to prison. And so my journey of recovery started from that moment when I got in the prison gate. Not when I left, but when I went to prison. I just sat down with myself and my higher power and just had a conversation. Um, got rid of some hurts. I had a chance to grieve. I had a chance to process through things that had happened that was not of my own doing, and then of decisions I made. So I came to Greensboro, and I went to a drug treatment center for women in Summerfield, called Tabitha Ministries. And what Tabitha Ministries did for me was it gave me the sense of knowing that I had some value and worth. Um, they gave me some tools about how to deal with me, to find out that some of the things that had happened in my life wasn't a product of other people, but some choices that I made. They showed me a lot of love, and I was so afraid to come back out into the community to work because I didn't know how to live life, didn't know how to manage life. But I opened a thrift store down there, and I stayed in that thrift store for a while, and just walked up every day in that store, just talked to God about where I wanted to go and what did I want from Him, and just about changing my life. I left Hannah's Tabitha Ministries and I lived on my own, started going to school. Started going to school for human service with substance abuse as my concentration. And I got to be honest, going to school was more about therapy. I really learned that I had some codependencies that I have acquired. I really was driven by a lot of pain and a lot of negative affirmations that people had poured on me about what I could not do, who I was not going to be, what I could not do, how I was wrong. And I dealt with a lot of that negative stuff, but I fought from that place. I fought from that place that I'm going to be opposite of what that is not who I am. That is not where I come from. That's not what my parents instilled in me. I started going to school and I learned through school about codependency and learned about how I had developed codependency for people, relationships, because I really didn't have them. So any relationships I built, I try to hold on to them tightly. And I learned through this process about what I wanted out of life and where I wanted to go. So while at Tabitha Ministries, I met this man named Nicholas Bright, and he just sat me down and asked me one day if I could do what I had designed to do when I graduated from high school, what would that be? And I told him I would be a counselor. And he said, well, go out and figure out how to do it. And so I went on that path of trying to arrive to that place. And shortly after that, I stayed clean for maybe 8 years. And I got into a relationship and I relapsed. I went back to what was familiar once the relationship broke up. Um, and so my journey started again. And at that time, I found Teen Challenge. Um, and it's out in Brown Summit, and I became a part of that program. Graduated, started working as a teacher, got my first certification to be a Teen Challenge teacher, and that was awesome, and it gave me purpose. I found what I love to do. I found teaching others what I had learned was good, and that's in the program. I learned this philosophy as a teacher. You learn it, you live it, so that you can teach it. And then I began to learn a lot about me, about life, about resources, about people in a healthy way. And then I started learning how to live it. And that was short. That was long-lived but short-lived. I left there, and then I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I had to recreate myself because I had quit school. Didn't finish, and I came to Step Up. One of the ladies that was a part of Step Up was part of Hannah's Haven. And I was trying to find myself because I had a live-in position, didn't know where I was going to go. And I came to StepUp Greensboro and met Anthony Bass and them. And there I learned to deal with how to talk about my failures in a healthy way. Gave me a lot of strength about my character, how to develop character, how to be a woman of integrity, to let my insides and outsides line up. Step Up helped build a solid foundation of what my parents had started. And I graduated from Step Up in 2014. I then went back to school, got my first degree in human services with substance abuse as a concentration. Finished that, went and got my BSW to be a social worker. And I got a job at Greensboro Urban Ministry where I really could then connect others, help others find their way when they was in bad places, and really found what I'm passionate about. And I'm currently working on my MSW, in which I want to be a clinical social worker. Because what I learned is that you can find people with all the things that everybody have, and they still do not deal with that underlying issue that we all walk through. And that could be various things, trauma, it could be making a few mistakes, or it could just be that you get tired. Sometimes you don't believe in yourself. You know, sometimes you can be made so many mistakes that believing in yourself can be hard. And so we need people like Anthony Bass. Um, I think Fonda was working here at the time to just believe in you, to be able to show you and give you that extra hope that you searching for, because you don't see it in yourself. When you look in the mirror, you only see the failures and mistakes and the things that you like that other people don't approve of. You never see what's deep down inside of you. But I'm very passion driven. I'm driven by my passion. My brother tells me all the time, "You're just a sentimental fool," but I'd rather be sentimental than hard and cold. Um, and so this journey has been a great one. Um, and I do what I do every day because other people need to know that they can do it too.